Hey, what's up guys? This is Brian at Whisper74. Welcome to the community, welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you are seeing me, please consider liking and subscribing. We are real tech for real people. Today's video is on the Samsung SB95 Qd-Oled. It is the brand new technology from Samsung, taking the entire AV world by storm. However, as much as it's hyped, as much as we have all praised it, it somehow is still underrated until you can actually see it and experience it in person and all types of content. Well, this is a comparison that no one else can bring you, or I don't think anyone else even thought of doing. I was at Value Electronics after hours shooting the SB95 with some PS5 4K 60 gameplay for you guys. However, it was a little bit too bright outside and in the gallery. Even though the SB95 has amazing reflection handling, I wanted to bring you that in the best environment possible. It was I was sitting there, I was watching the 98-inch Samsung QN90A MINI LED. It is a panel that very few people in this planet have, and I'm sitting there watching it. As I'm looking over at the SB95, it dawned on me to compare them. It's not meant to be like for like, but the entire experience is one of the best and most amazing AV experiences I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm looking so forward to sharing it with you.
There can be only one.
All right, guys, here we are in the gallery. Again, we are after hours. Special thank you to Robert and Wendy Zahn of Value Electronics for their hospitality, kindness, and generosity. Very cool to be in the store after hours all by myself, which is why I thought about comparing these two panels. Not meant to be like for like. The QN90A is at 98 inches. It is a current panel. The model year is a carryover from last year, but the panel is new. Released only a few months ago. It is their largest consumer panel. It will not be replaced this year. The Samsung S95B, which I mispronounced several times in the intro, is absolutely stunning. And as much as you hear it hyped and loved by many, it is still underrated. It is absolutely amazing. The cleanest panel I have ever seen. Special thank you to Robert and Wendy Zahn of Value Electronics. Please check the description below for all of their information, and please consider making your next AV purchase through them. If you tell them that you saw them here on Whisper74, they will gift you a extended 3-year Samsung warranty or 5% store credit. The demo material is seeing here is from good friend Jennifer Gala, who also has a second channel, HDR Super Channel. Please check out that channel. Please subscribe to it. She is amazing. Her work is exquisite, her and her team. And the HDR Super Channel is where a lot of this demo material is from. Please check out her channel, subscribe to her. Thank you so much, Jen. I want to show you several different kinds of content. Being there after hours is amazingly fun. You guys can imagine how great it would be. That's why I compared these two. The other panels in the gallery are being calibrated and figured using two of the same manufacturers. The settings are very similar. We're both in standard. Filmmaker mode, while more accurate, was rather drab on camera. We'll be using a very different mix of demo material. The first 3 demos are Jennifer's. Beautiful, beautiful work. Now, keep in mind the mini LED is brighter anyway. However, it's also twice the size, and the Qd-Oled still looks nearly as bright. OLEDs typically compared to LEDs. A lot of people say you can't compare the same different techs. Yes, you can. I've compared plasmas to OLEDs, LEDs to OLEDs. Most times seeing LEDs to OLEDs, it's stark difference. Here, if you told me they were both LEDs, I would believe you. The colors are matched up, same temperature, but not exactly the same. Again, not meant to be exactly like for like. While the QN90A is a current panel as it's carried over due to its being a new release, the entire menu is from last year. So all the settings, or some of the settings, are different. But I think you'd appreciate the similarities and subtle differences. Now, while the mini LED is obviously brighter and twice the size, it's amazing that the Qd-Oled looks the way it looks. I mentioned that the Qd-Oled is the cleanest panel I have ever seen. I was there to shoot some PS5 4K 60 gameplay, which was mind-blowing. You'll see that in a few days. But the Samsung QN90A Mini LED at 98 inches is also the cleanest LED I've ever seen, but they are rare panels. They are binned higher. There aren't many of them, so I expect that panel at its cost to be very clean as well. Now, this is very bright, vibrant content. There are times where the QN90A will be very, very bright in comparison to the Qd-Oled. However, I would argue that when the mini LED is brighter, it is a lot of times not in the specular highlights, but full screen brighter. There are also times like here where the Qd-Oled seems brighter. Now, in theory, you could film these separately and then edit them together in post. However, then you're manipulating the image and you can do whatever you want with them. Here, it's raw, but it's more close to what I actually see. The blacks on the QN90A are extremely impressive. And being on angle, considering that it's 98 inches, isn't hard to do. But the times where it's much brighter, it's full screen, which tends to wash it out. There is a depth to the image of the Qd-Oled that can be missing on the mini LED. And there are times where there's just much more, it feels like there's much more color, though they're both quantum dot. Now, the room isn't even that dark. That shows you the reflection handling of, I mean, it's not bright, but it shows you the reflection handling of both. The sconce you see on the right is actually behind the panel. In the next demo, I will move them to the center. It was just easier for me with the remote, and I didn't want to chop off the bottom of the mini LED. Jennifer's work is awesome. Now, while we're sitting here chatting, you know, there is a tremendous amount of hype surrounding the Qd-Oled. I didn't believe it until I actually saw it on YouTube with FOMO on Tech and some others, as we all collaborated, Classy, Tech with KG. We all were doing kind of videos together, but I really needed to see it to believe it. And that is the real difference. So the speculation you see in forums, the speculation you see in comments, really can't say a whole lot until you see it for yourself. As beautiful as it looks on YouTube, or no matter what you're filming it with, it just doesn't do it justice. As it has all of the strengths of an OLED with the powers of an LED, plus being extremely clean, meaning there isn't any DSC that you would see on an LED, there isn't any banding, 5%. Gray that you would normally see on a lot of the OLEDs I have seen and owned. The gaming portion, which will be in a few days, will show that, as I'll show you many of the games that I experience banding in all of my OLEDs that I did not see on this panel. These are familiar demo material from LG that you guys are used to. Now, regardless of how impressive the Qd-Oled is, you have to be impressed with the 98-inch Samsung QN90A. But a depth of image that you get from an OLED, and you're adding the peak brightness. And I'll also mention too, what I think isn't being said much is not just the wider color gamut on the Qd-Oleds, but you're losing the weakness of black crush. So with the peak brightness and the color of the Qd-Oled, especially in a lot of the gaming footage, the detail was there. So again, it's like Blade. You have all the strengths and none of the weaknesses. And considering it's their first shot at it, it's unbelievable. There are a few times here where the brightness looks higher on the Qd-Oled, which isn't the case, but it does have that perceived brightness, which is closer than ever. OLEDs would occasionally have that, but it was only your perception. Now there are times where the specular highlights can be extremely bright on the Samsung Qd-Oled. Now the colors will be cool. We are in the standard preset, which is why things are very blue here. And the colors don't always match. Again, it is a generational difference. And even lining them up is difficult, even if you start them at 0. But they are both absolutely amazing. Now the pixel density of the 55-inch yields a sharper, cleaner image. The QN90A on its own from 8 to 9 feet back is still very sharp. However, a lot of our comparisons is where you do see the difference. You don't realize how much sharper a smaller panel is until you're one that's twice the size. It gives the QN90A at the 98-inch size almost a projector-like look. Sorry about the doorbell. Between home and pets, things can get a little loud when you're trying to film after the fact. Yes, so as a larger panel, it can look almost like a projector. It does have a little bit of a softness. Once you pull them apart, it looks clean. It's just having that pixel density next to something that large at 4K. But seeing the peak brightness and these very bright highlights, seeing the Qd-Oled be able to match it is what I wanted to really show you. Typically in LED versus OLED comparisons like this, the OLED will always suffer in these comparisons, and it does not. It just seems like the Qd-Oled hits the peak brightness, hits the specular highlights, but the full field brightness of the mini LED shows up more, which you don't necessarily want. You don't want everything bright, you just want the specular highlights brighter. Again, the colors are more blue. We are in standard. Color temperatures are the same. And true to OLEDs, they do appear more blue on camera when it's full field blue. There isn't any dimming on or ABL or ABSL on the Qd-Oled. It looks absolutely stunning. And as I mentioned, it's causing chaos in the TV world. I'll be following up on a tech therapy video. I also want to show you a much larger panel next to the 55. As good as the Qd-Oled is, it doesn't make up for size. So if you're watching this with a larger 77 or 83 or an 85, as good as it is, in my humble opinion, it will not take the place of size and immersion. Me personally, having an 83-inch C1, the 65-inch Qd-Oled, as amazing as it is not an option for me. I cannot give up the immersion. Plus, not having things side by side, going home, firing up the panels I have here, they still look amazing. And that's not worrying about anybody's feelings, it's just a fact. Comparisons do bring out the differences. I will say in the gaming portion though, the way the specular highlights hit, especially in HGIG, which you can leave on all the time that I've noticed on the PS5, which I've never seen on an OLED before. Amazing. This really is a leap. And again, you're looking at an OLED at 55 inches compared to a 98-inch LED, or mini LED, I should say. And the fact that they both look like LEDs in a lot of these shots is absolutely amazing. Now, in SDR, I may have mentioned this, I've recorded this about 20 times. The Qd-Oled, even with the latest update, has SDR brightness higher, trying to match the QN90A's brightness, which lowers in SDR. I couldn't get them looking like for light in all the content, so I didn't want to hurt either one. And this is exquisite demo material, especially the material from Jen in the beginning. It is just meant to be something for fun, and it's something I can confidently say isn't going to be done on the entire platform. No one's comparing QN90A at 98 inches. Even alone, I barely see any videos on that other than the ones that I've brought you. Now, how are you guys feeling in the comments about the Qd-Oled? Is it something that you are excited about? Is it freaking you out? How do you guys feel about it? I will tell you the reason I wanted to do this video is I do want to show you this one shot here. This is where you can see the difference in color, but the Qd-Oled, it's probably one of the only shots where the QN90A looks much brighter. So there are times. But I want to share this content with you because this is very much how I felt sitting there. There's that wonderment, there's that excitement. I'm in the store alone, which is amazing. There's nobody with me. I have the remotes, I'm running around. It's just very, very cool. And my way of doing content is really to share it with you as if we're together. That's why I'm more discussion based. I want to share that excitement with you. Even taking out the audio of me there, because it was constant wow, 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 wow. So it's not meant to be serious business. It's meant to be fun, and this was a very fun night. I meant to be there for just a few hours. I put in 6 to 7 hours, I believe. I think I thought it was 5 to 6 until I got home, and I was like, oh my God, I was there for a long time, and it flew by. Now, the reason you see them off angle, they're not off angle, I'm actually dead center. I moved it to the side because I was cutting off, I am cutting the bottom of the 98-inch off. It's hard fitting them in camera, actually. And also, in that white area that you see there of the content, that's typically where you would see the cross-hatching or that spider web white artifacting in OLEDs in the last few years. That is completely gone. So no issues at all with the Qd-Oleds. And actually no issues at all with the current OLED lineup. So they definitely solved that. There is no pink tint, nothing like that. But it is a great disruptor. It is disrupting their own lineup, which is yet to be fully released. You will see this panel also go against the QN90B, QN800B, the 95B, all these that are coming out, and they'll be at Value Electronics. We will do comparisons because the Qd-Oled now is the benchmark. It's the standard, which every other panel will be measured against. I have other comparisons at home with the C2 and some others, but when it comes into the Qd-Oleds at the store, most of them are going to be compared to a Quantum.Oled. I hope you guys enjoyed the comparison. I think it's fun. I wish you guys were there with me. Big party. But it's been a very busy TV season, and the Quantum.Oled, the S95B, kind of stopped a lot of our content, from being how we had it planned out. One of my favorite demos here. You can see this is a bit more depth and color to the Qd-Oled, but the fact that it matches the brightness is absolutely amazing. Now, there is no blooming on the OLED, obviously, but it shows you how bright it really is. that they look so unbelievably similar. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me again. Special thank you to Robert and Wendy Zahn. Check the description of Value Electronics. Special thank you to Jennifer Gala. Check out her channel and the HCR Super channel in the description, and please subscribe. I love you guys. I'm having an amazing time this year in the TV season kicking off. I'm bringing you as much content as I possibly can. And I'm so grateful for your friendship. I'm so grateful for all the amazing comments and for you guys being there. It is still going to be a very exciting year. We will have the X95 at 85 inches tomorrow at Value Electronics. I will shoot that video with Shane from Spare Change. Then I will have that video for you in the next few days, followed by the PS5 footage of the S95B. Wow, that looks beautiful. Again, we are measuring these in vibrancy and pop and out-of-the-box settings versus calibrating. Everybody else can do calibration. My thing is to bring you what these things really look like when you get them home. Meaning that it's how you would see them in your house versus getting them calibrated. It's amazing to get them calibrated. It's very valuable to do that. But I want to show you what many of you will see. Probably 95% of you are going to view it in this manner. Let me know what you think, how they stack up. I will see you guys in the comments. I love you guys, and I think, I don't know, I'm just blown away. It was a lot of wows this evening. A lot of, oh my gosh, whoa, 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 whoa. So it was really, really cool, especially the gaming aspect. All right, guys, have a great day. Love you so much. Take care.